you're joining us for the first time, hi, my name is Ntwanie and we talk about all things education here. So do join us. Stay tuned and yeah, let's get straight onto it. So today, guys, we are talking about deciding where to study because I realized a lot of people, right, just wake up in the morning and choose which university they want to go to, which is fine. It's perfectly okay. But I feel like if you had more information, to base your decision on, you'd actually make a more informed decision for yourself and for everyone around you. You'd be able to help other people. So today we're actually talking about 5 things. I've limited it to 5. There's so many things that you should consider, but 5 things that you should look at when you're actually deciding where to study. So I'll be basically talking about South African because that's where I'm at and that's where I've studied and that's what I know. So yeah, let's get on to it. So the first thing that I think is important actually in deciding where you want to study is the standard of the university, right? So the first thing you need to consider is the standard of the university. And as we all know, that the standard of the university is basically how the university is ranked. So is it the first in the country? On what position is the university at? And also the standard of the university goes hand in hand with the quality of the education. So the higher the standard, the higher the quality, right? So if you're deciding you want to study at a university that has a higher standard, I think the standard of the university that you choose should match your work ethic. I mean, you can't be somebody who needs to be pushed to go to school, who needs to be pushed to study, who needs to be threatened to wake up in the morning and actually study, right? You can't be that person and then you want to go to a university that has a very high standard. You are going to suffer because let me tell you guys, nobody pushes you at university. No one cares if you came to class or you didn't come to class. Nobody cares if you did your work or you didn't do your work. The lectures are concerned, yes, but it's not as it is in high school right now, where you get beaten if you didn't submit your homework, or there's some sort of penalty if you didn't do something, right? So university is not that space. If you need to be pushed, please don't play next to high standard universities, right? If you need you need somebody to constantly remind you to do this and do that and do that, no, right? So it's important that before you pack your bags and you go, consider your work ethic, consider the standard of the university, consider the quality of the university that you're going to get, because quality also plays a role. When you now come into the workspace, they actually look at the quality of the education that you received. So that's also important to base your decision looking at the future, considering your future plans and considering what could happen in the future if I go here, what could happen in the future if I do this and that. But obviously match your work ethic to the standard of university. If you're somebody who can wake up in the morning, attend classes, you don't need to be pushed, then by all means go for it. Like if you're self-driven yourself, then you can wake up in the morning and do whatever is required of you to do without anybody having to push you around and stuff like that. So just consider that standard of living. I'm looking down because I actually have it down in my notes, right? So that was the first one. The second thing that you need to consider is what are you going to study, right? So obviously, if let's say for instance I decide I want to study something in biology, right? For instance, I want to do medicine, dentistry, pharmacy and stuff like that, I can apply to Medunsa because Medunsa actually offers those programs. If I want to do something in engineering or you want to do something in architecture, stuff like that, whatever it is that you want to do, just make sure that the universities that you're looking at actually do offer those things, and also look at whether they offer them in degrees, diplomas, or certificates, right? Like, often I hear people saying they want to study a certain course, right, at a certain university, but you find that that university only offers it through a diploma, right? And they pass the matric with a bachelor pass, right? Which, yes, you can do a diploma with a bachelor pass, but you need to match the results that you have to what you are going to study. So look at whether that university actually offers that course. Another thing that you also need to look at is the duration that universities offers it at. Some universities offers degrees over a 4-year course, some offers it over a 3-year course, and obviously this will depend on the modules that are included in that degree or that diploma or whatever it is, as well as the structure of the curriculum. So that's some of the things that you need to consider as well. I mean, don't pack up your bags, guys, and go to PE to study something that the university doesn't really offer, because sometimes you fall into the trap of, oh no, I want to do this, and then the university says, no, you can't do that here, but we can give you this, and then you end up studying stuff you didn't even want to study, right? So just consider if they actually offer what you want. And then on that note, the third thing that you need to consider again is, excuse me for the lighting. Okay, the third thing that you need to consider again is basically what's in the course that you want to study. So what modules do they actually have? How is the curriculum structured? Which modules are you going to do in first year? Which modules are you going to do in second year, third year, and the likes, right? So let me tell you a story of what happened to me personally. So I left matric, right? And in matric I decided, you know what, I want to study accounting. I'm good in accounting. I can just sit there and work on my accounting. You know, I'm going to calculate everything. It's going to be perfect. It's not going to give me hassles. It's not going to give me troubles, right? But let me tell you, in matric, I did sciences. I didn't do anything in the commerce field. No, actually, I did sciences and accounting. So accounting was the only one thing in the commerce stream that I studied. So I actually enjoyed it, and I thought, I'm going to go to university and I'm going to just sit in the library and do accounting, and life will be fun and simple. Until I got to first year. And guess what was in my modules? For first year, I had economics, I had business, I had stats, statistics. Guys, yeah. So, right, I'm there. I'm thinking I'm just going to do accounting. But here's this module called eco. Here's this module called business. I didn't do economics in high school. I didn't do business. I was shocked, right? Because a lot of people who get into the commerce stream have in a way been, they have interacted at some point in their study careers with things like economics and business, and I hadn't. They actually got exposure, and I hadn't had that exposure before. So I had to make it work there and there. I needed to teach myself economics from scratch. I needed to teach myself business. So if you are deciding you want to do a certain course, go to the university's website, Technicon College, wherever you want to study, go to their website, see what modules are in that course. Don't get there and get surprises. If maths was not, your best thing in high school, don't go for courses that major in maths, because you are going to struggle, right? So look in what actually goes into that course, what modules do they have, and whether those modules are only semester modules or year modules. Also consider if those modules block each other. So what I mean by block each other is, so say for example in first, I'm going to give you an example in accounting because that's what I did, that's what I know. For example, in accounting in first year, you're going to do your first year accounting modules, right? If you don't pass your first year accounting module, you cannot register your second year accounting module. Do you understand? So it blocks your second year modules, basically. That's what it is. So just consider if such things exist, because you don't want to get there and find yourself doing a module that you don't really like and you didn't even know it's included in there, but then it blocks your second modules and you cannot go forward until you've passed that, right? So that was point number 2, right? Oh no, that was point number 3, sorry. Point number 4 is your fees and your funding, right? If you are deciding to go to a certain institution of higher learning, guys, it is important to look at the fees, right? It is important to know that, for example, I want to do BA, right? I want to do BA arts and stuff like that. How much is this gonna cost me? And when I talk about cost, I'm not just talking about the cost of the tuition that you pay to the university. You need to look at the cost of accommodation in that specific university or college or whatever. Excuse me. You also need to look at, other than the accommodation, you also need to look at the cost of transport. Like, is the transport, are you going to stay off campus where you need to travel to campus on a daily? Or are you going to stay at race and then you'd have to look for accommodation and race stuff that happens there? Another thing, guys, that you need to consider is, excuse me, the cost of living in that city. So if you decide, you know what, I am done with Limpopo, or I am done with my hometown, it's my matric year, I just want to go away from home and go to Cape Town, for instance, right? I'm going to use Cape Town as an example. So you decide I want to go to Cape Town and I'm going to study BCom economics, for instance. You need to look at the tuition for BCom economics. So BCom economics is in entirety from first year all the way to third year if it's a 3-year degree, or fourth year if it's a 4-year, depending on how long it is. How much is it going to cost you for that period? How much is it going to cost you to stay at race if you're applying for race at UCT? If you're not applying for race at UCT, how much is it going to cost you to stay off campus in private accommodation? There are instances where you actually need your own transport to campus. You also need to consider how much you will be spending on a monthly basis on transport. I know most universities have university shuttles, so basically they transport you from a certain point to campus and from campus to your place at certain times of the day. There's like a timetable thingy there, which the transport is free, obviously, if you're a student. But you may stay in a place where that transport doesn't reach and you need to cover maybe the cost from there to the pickup point. So you also need to consider such things. Another thing that you would need to consider is the cost of living. Guys, living, breathing is expensive. To be alive is expensive. Let me tell you, it's expensive. Things are expensive out there. Like, cost of living is crazy. So if you've decided that you want to go to a city like Cape Town, where you're going to live there for a minimum of 4 years, which is what you'll be studying, you need to consider the cost of living, right? Studying in Cape Town is not just you going to campus on a daily basis and stuff like that. It also includes entertainment. It also includes, for instance, if you fall sick and you need medical attention while you're there, or something happens to you, people need to reach you. You also need to consider such things. And also you just don't want to stay in that little town where the university is. You don't want to explore Cape Town. You want to buy clothes, you need to eat and stuff like that. So you need to consider the cost of living at the specific city that you decide to go to, right? So that was point number 4. The last point, guys, and the most fun part of it is the distance from home. how far is this college or how far is this university from home? Now let me tell you a story. Happened to me again. So I decide I'm in matric. I decide, you know what, everything is going well, everything is going fine, and I'm gonna go to UCT. I wanted to go to UCT. I didn't, but I wanted to. All right. And then I sat down with my parents and we spoke about it. And then they were like, you know what, we think Cape Town is a bit too far, right? We don't think you should go to Cape Town because of 1, 2, 3. It's too far. We won't be able to reach you. We can't come visit you. You can't come home as regularly. I mean, 18-year-old me is sitting there and thinking, guys, I don't want to come home. I don't want you to visit me. I don't want to be home every time. I lived here for 18 years. Can I just go out to the world and explore? Unfortunately, right, it doesn't work like that. You're gonna go to wherever. Let's say you decide, you know, I'm gonna go from Limpopo or wherever you're from, and you're going to a university far away from home. Let's say for me, I'm gonna use for an example, you're going to Durban, right? You decide, I want to go to Durban after high school. It is far enough from Limpopo. Nobody from Limpopo is gonna see me and monitor my life when I'm there. I don't even need to come home. I'll come home in December, you know, home is boring and stuff like that. Until you get to uni. Yeah, and then stuff gets real, right? And then 2 weeks into your lectures, a month into your lectures, you suddenly decide, nah, I want to go home. Because guys, let me tell you one thing for a fact is, if you've lived at home for 18 years, the moment you go out of your town, you sort of step out of your comfort zone, right? You step out of your support structure, you step into independence. When you're out there with a lot of people from different backgrounds, with different things in their lives that are going on, you're gonna feel homesick, right? You're gonna feel alone. You're gonna feel homesick. You want to go home and visit your parents. You're gonna miss your mom. You're gonna miss your dad. You're gonna miss your siblings, right? Choose a university that's gonna allow you at a certain point to be able to go home. You understand what I mean? If you choose to go to a place like PE where you need to fly, it may not always be possible for your sponsor or your parents to give you money to board a flight, to actually come back home for a week. You know, like, flights are expensive. Like I said, the cost of living, it's expensive. Other than that, right, we normally have a mentality that going away from home is good. And yes, it is. But it's not always the best decision, especially if you know you have financial problems with your studies, especially if you know you're somebody who likes to be around family, or you are sort of too dependent on family and you leaving them behind. You will want to come home, and it's not always going to be possible. And it's not nice, guys. It's not nice when everyone Easter is closed at uni, it's recess and they're home, and you're there in Cape Town, in Durban, PE somewhere, and you cannot go home just because you cannot afford to go home for a week for that much, you know. Another thing with studying far away from home is when it comes to, let's say for example, you decide to study far away from home, right? You go to a certain university to study accounting. I'm going to give you an example of accounting. You study accounting in a certain university, and then you decide 2 years into the course that, no, actually I want to transfer. This place is actually too far. Excuse me, I want to transfer back to a place that's closer to home. So maybe you're moving from a certain university like NMMU, now MU, I think. So you're moving from there and you're coming back to UJ, right? It's closer to home. It's Joburg. It's just a bus away. So you decide to take this transfer. There's one thing that most people are not aware of. Inter-university transfers have consequences. So first of all, you might have done an accounting course at NMMU, right? And UJ also has its own curricula in accounting. So what happens is NMMU has its modules, UJ also has its modules. At the end of the day, if you all do this module and finish it, you're all going to be eligible to get into the CA route, for example, right? But the structure of the UJ and the structure of NMMU is different. So what they do at UJ in first year is different from what NMMU does in first year. So let's say, for example, you did first year in NMMU, and then now you want to go into second year but transfer to UJ. There may be modules that you didn't do in your first year in NMMU that UJ first year students actually did. When you get to UJ is going to credit you for the modules that are similar between NMMU and UJ, but they're not going to credit you for the modules that you didn't do at NMMU that the UJ kids did in first year. So basically what's going to happen is, if those modules are not blocking modules, like I explained earlier, if they don't block second year, they're going to allow you to register for the first year modules at UJ that you didn't do because you were at NMMU at the time, and also register the second year UJ modules, right? But that is going to be a lot of work for you. Another thing that can also happen is that they may allow you to register your first year modules at UJ that you didn't do at NMMU, but do not allow you to register for their second year modules, because the first year modules that you still need to do, you need to pass them first before you can be eligible to register for the second year ones, right? So yeah, it's complicated like that, unfortunately. Some instances you can't just take a transfer after your second year at NMMU and decide you want to go to UP and do your third year and then graduate at UP, because I know with UP they have a rule that you cannot get a UP degree, right, unless you've done 2 years or more in that course, right? So you cannot come from NMMU with your second year and then say I want to register 1 year at UP and then get a degree. They need you to have a minimum of 2 years study at UP for you to be eligible to get a UP degree. So those guys are some of the things. It's a lot. I know this video is long, but it's some of the things that you need to consider when you're deciding where you want to study. And last thing, I don't want to make this video much longer than it is. The last thing is, guys, if you're in matric and you are looking forward to going away from home, please apply. The first step to going anywhere is if you've applied. If you didn't apply, I am sorry, there is nothing universities can do for you. There is nothing career advisors can do for you. If you didn't apply, they don't know you basically. So apply so you get a foot in the door, and then when you've now applied, you can now start deciding and consider all these factors that was just discussed below. If you liked my videos, guys, remember to give it a massive thumbs up. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk anymore. A massive thumbs up, like my videos, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more information that is going to help you in future. Thank you for watching. Bye.